Hello everyone. Welcome to MRU E-Learning powered by Malla Reddy University. Myself Sindhura, Assistant Professor from Department of Food Science and Technology, School of Agriculture Sciences, Malla Reddy University. So today we are going to learn about smart proteins for sustainable future. So advances in plant-based, fermentation-based and cultivated protein technologies. Coming to the introduction, so as India confronts challenges such as climatic change, food scarcity, and public health, functional foods and smart proteins are a key to sustainable food production. So smart proteins includes plant-based, lab-cultured alternatives, replicate traditional meats while reducing the environmental impact. So their production uses significantly less water, land, and energy, aiding India's net zero carbon goals by 2070. So coming to the global protein demand, currently protein demand is about 350 million tons per year, expected to double by about 2050. So the global plant-based meat market is projected to reach between 100 billion to 370 billion by 2035, representing a significant economic opportunity for India. So coming to the protein ingredient market, so as of now, as of 2022, 57.6 is the value, and it has raised to about 61% and expected to raise by 7% and reach 85.6. And coming to the areas where we could see North America, Europe, Asia Pacific, South America and rest of the world. So coming to the greenhouse gases. So by cutting greenhouse gas emission and fostering sustainable practices, these innovations can mitigate agricultural environmental effects and create a resilient, healthier food system. So coming to the livestock itself contribute to about 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions according to FAO, and over 70% of agricultural land is used for livestock feed and grazing. So here smart proteins can contribute as an alternative that could provide the same nutrition and with a lower ecological cost. So here 18% coming to the greenhouse gas emission of the food supply chain, 18% alone is contributed by processing, transport, packaging, retail, waste that is generated from the food processing sector, and 24% is by the land use change, and 27% is by the crop production, and 31% is by the livestock and fisheries. So coming to the commercialization, successful commercialization of smart proteins generally requires scaling production, ensuring affordability and raising consumer awareness of the health and environmental benefits. So innovative initiations such as startup production plant-based smart proteins and companies advancing fermentation technologies are reshaping India's food landscape. So coming to the successful brands that are there in the market, so for example, Good Dot and Evo Foods are pioneering smart protein products already entering the Indian markets, which are demonstrating the practical applications of these technologies. So these initiatives underscore India's capacity to spearhead the global shift towards the sustainable food systems. So coming to the farmer role in terms of smart proteins, so farmers are crucial in these transformation. So those cultivating bioactive rich, protein rich crops such as pulses and millets can integrate into smart protein supply chains by boosting their income while also supporting a more sustainable food system. So India's vast agriculture base, these holds a significant potential to meet the raw materials needs for both functional foods and also smart proteins. So coming to the strengthening rural communities, moreover, growing such crops can strengthen the rural communities by encouraging crop diversification, and also it will enhance the climate resilience. So academic institutions and research organizations, these also pave way towards increasing this growth and encouraging the smart protein growth. And coming to the research, so ongoing research has been focused on improving bioactive compounds extractions and enhancing the nutritional value of the plant-based diets, and also developing cost-effective methods to produce smart proteins through microbial fermentation and also agriculture waste. So this collaborative ecosystem will involve farmers, will involve industry, academia, and also research institution. This will ensure that the functional food and smart protein, they both remain scalable, affordable, and also sustainable during their production. So why smart proteins? So innovative protein sources beyond conventional livestock is important as of now with the change in public and with the change in public's recommendations. And coming to these will provide nutrition with the lower ecological cost. This will also aim for taste, texture, and also affordability. So for example, we can take as plant milk such as almond milk or soy milk, and animal-free whey, and cultivated chicken that is done in the labs. So these are some of the ways where you can produce the smart proteins. And coming to the non-animal protein sources, we have plant-based proteins which include soya bean, which includes lupin, LOP, lentils, faba beans, mung beans, peanut, rapeseed, chickpea, wheat, lean proteins. And coming to the algae-based, so we have microalgae, we have macroalgae. So in the microalgae, we have different categories under microalgae such as Anthrospira, and in the macroalgae, we have Pyropia. And coming to the microbial, we have single cell protein, so which includes spirulina, which is widely consumed in the Asian countries. And we have edible insect such as termites, grasshoppers, crickets, bees, mealworms, locusts. So these are some of the edible insects that can be consumed as part of the diet, which is not very much observed in some parts of, but it is also observed in some parts of India, mostly in the northeast parts, that they consume edible insects. And it is not very much prevalent in India as of now. So coming to the plant-based proteins, we have soya, peas, chickpeas, mung peas, lentils, and hemp, millets. These are some of the ways where you can extract protein from and we also have the concentrated way of protein extraction from these sources as of now. So coming to the applications, we could use them as a plant milk, so which is almond, soya, oat milk is already present commercially in our Indian markets, and plant-based meats, which is as of now entering into the Indian market, and it is also gaining popularity among Indian markets, so such as Beyond Meat, Impossible Foods, India's Good Dot, Evo Foods, and coming to the Nourish You, which is plant-based milk. So other brands that are promoting the plant-based proteins are Muscle Base, Optimum Nutrition, Dymatize, and also My Protein. These are some of the brands that are also promoting the plant-based proteins. So Beyond Meat is found in 2009. It is a leader in the plant-based meat today, which has announced a significant product distribution expansion in the thousands of European retail locations. And Impossible Foods is a company that developed a plant-based substitute for meat products. So this product's signature product is Impossible Burger, which was launched in 2016 in California as a vegan alternative to the beef hamburgers. And Good Dot. Good Dot Proteins is a go-to vegetarian protein chunk that is crafted from a high-quality soya flour, pea protein, and oat flour, and natural spices. This is found in 2016 in Udaipur. And Evo Foods. So Evo Foods is using cutting-edge science and technology to create next-generation plant-based substitutions for animal products. This is found in 2019 in Mumbai. So coming to the Nourish You. Nourish You is a Hyderabad-founded brand, which in 2015, India-based plant-based nutrition brand, and this is the first superfood company to produce and sell homegrown organic quinoa and chia seeds, which also produces smart proteins such as millet-based milk, which is also abundantly available in our Indian market as of now. So coming to the nutritive value from these smart proteins, plant-based smart proteins. So generally, these plant-based proteins will be having lower saturated fats, it is generally cholesterol free and contains fiber and phytochemicals, which is an added advantage apart from the traditional meat sources. So coming to the challenges, there are certain challenges that are associated with the plant-based meats, such as it may not be able to mimic exactly the alternative meat may not exactly mimic the traditional meat component. So some certain kind of processing is required to mimic meat texture and taste barriers. Because we are using the plant-based sources, there may be chance that it may have a beany flavor associated with the product. And coming to the allergens, if we are using plant-based, so we may also be using certain components, allergens such as soya and gluten, which may not be able to digest in some people. And coming to the fermentation-based proteins, so there are three types of fermentation-based protein products. First is traditional fermentation, which will include tempeh, miso or kefir. So these are the traditionally soya-based products that are done by fermentation technique. And next is biomass fermentation. So we are using microproteins such as corn to produce the protein. And next is precision fermentation, where we are engineering the microbes to produce specific type of proteins, to develop and multiply specific type of proteins. So coming to the here in the traditional, so if you are trying to see the difference between the traditional biomass and precision, so here in the microbes, in the traditional way, microbes under anaerobic conditions, they will be converting the sugars into end product with unique texture or flavor components. Whereas in the biomass, here they'll be using a rapid growth microbes to efficiently produce large amounts of protein-rich biomass. Then in the precision based, here the microbes itself are engineered to produce specific functional ingredients which can be used directly into the products. So coming to the traditional way, what are the key features are, here we are using native cultures, or we are using starter microbial cultures that are present in the final product itself. So here we are using the traditional high value raw materials to produce final end products such as milk, to produce yogurt. And end products are generally not very much processed, so they are minimally processed or not processed itself. And coming to the biomass, the key feature is biomass itself is serving as an ingredient. So this uses novel, inexpensive feedstocks to produce high value proteins. So for example, we can use agriculture remains after processing, which can be converted into biomass. And biomass is also minimally processed or not processed itself. And coming to the precision, the key features are host usually not present in the final product. So this uses novel, inexpensive feedstock to produce high value ingredients. So byproducts, generally the byproducts are used to produce the proteins. And coming to the purity, so the major difference in the traditional biomass and precision, the major advantage in the precision is it could produce the high purity. So the purification step is involved. If the purification step is involved, then it could produce a high quality protein mass. So examples for the traditional products are yogurt, bread, cheese, tempeh and alcoholic beverages. Whereas in the biomass, we are having mycoproteins, which is used as a base for whole cut and alternative meat products. And coming to the precision, we have protein and not protein molecules. Flavoring agents can be produced, vitamins, pigments, fats, antioxidants also can be included in this method. So here in this method, so we could see that if you are using some kind of species, then ulva species can be taken as a pre-treatment milling and which could be transferred to bioreactor. So which could be fermentation can be done with the marine fungi such as P. salina. So separation of mycelium and mycelium and hydroxylate algae from the culture broth is done. So culture broth is separated, which serves as a hydrophobin protein, and here mycoprotein is separated. So mycoprotein can be used as a food ingredient. So for the human consumption, it could be used as a feed for the fish, it could be used as a feed for the chicken, it could be used as a feed for the pigs or swine. So here in the hydrophobia protein, which is separated, it can be used as a stabilized emulsion, water insoluble drugs, immobilization of proteins, and nanomaterial surface modification can be done in this method. And coming to the another method here in the method of precision. So here we could use a host microorganism of choice such as yeast or filamentous fungi or bacteria, where we could do a protein gene expression can be done, where the protein expression in integrated or epismall form in the microorganism. Here strain engineering cycle can be done, which is design, build, test and learn, which is called as DBTL. So design, build, test and learn, which will increase, which we are doing this DBTL to increase the protein production in the final product. Next is scaling up of process, where scaling up of process can be done from the bench scale to a small scale to a full manufacturing scale. Next we are doing is a downstream processing, where we are recovering the protein that is developed and we are purifying that protein in terms of concentration or isolation. Next we have purified recombinant protein, which is a final result. So as a result, we have proteins which are bioidentical to the original organism. So where we can apply these technologies? So application in the dairy products, where you can make products animal-free ice cream and cheese. And we can also do the egg proteins. So Perfect Day is a brand that is doing animal-free ice cream and cheese as of now. And coming to the egg proteins, the everyday company, it is doing egg proteins, and then mycoproteins can be used. It can be used as an applied in the mycoproteins for the meat alternatives that can be used to develop meat analogs. And coming to the advantages, what are the advantages of using this technology? So faster, less resource intensive than raising animals, because we are only using this fermentation technology, or we are developing using bioreactors. So we don't have to raise animals. So for that we are having a faster and less resource intensive and high customization. So you can customize the final product according to a consumer needs. So you can prepare a lactose free dairy with a real way that can be used in the product. So coming to what are the challenges? So coming to the challenges, regulatory approvals in each country is different. So the product that is developed has to be as per the regulatory requirements of that particular country, and cost of scaling bioreactors is generally high. So initial setup cost is generally high. So these are the basic challenges that are observed in this particular technology. So coming to the cultivated cell-based protein. So as of now, we could see a rise in the cultivated cell-based proteins rather than the traditional live killing of live animals and separating the meat. So here in this process, stem cells are generally extracted from the animals and they are grown in the nutrient-rich bioreactors. So here, what is the result we are getting is real meat without slaughtering. So we are not slaughtering any animals, but we are getting meat itself directly by only extracting from the animal. We are extracting the stem cell from the animal. We are providing the nutrient media. Thereby, we are creating the meat without any slaughter to the animal. So products so far that are developed in this method is cultivated chicken, we call it as cultivated chicken. So we have brands such as Eat Just, which is seen in the Singapore, which is approved in 2020, and they are producing and they are supplying to the consumers since 2020. And cultivated beef and fish prototypes are also available in the market with this name. So how is this cultivated meat done? So here, muscle biopsy. So some certain kind of cells, certain stem cells are extracted from the animals. So they are sought for cell types. So after the extraction, the cells are sorted, then cell lines are separated, then they are sent for the bioreactor where the nutrient media is supplied to in the bioreactor. So here plant-based polymer decellularization is done here in the process. Next we are having the cultivated meat products finally produced in this process. So cultivated meat during the cultivated meat in the bioreactors, we are trying to mimic or produce the meat structures. So here we are trying to form muscle fibers in the bioreactors. So after the cultivated meat is done in the final product, which can be processed. The processing of meat fibers can be done by means of converting them into sausage meat or chicken nuggets, chicken popcorns. All these are some of the products that can be done in this process. So benefits. What are the benefits benefits of cultivated meat. So first is real taste. We are having real texture, which is mimicking to the actual meat, and we are also having the better nutrition from this process. And this will eliminate a risk of antibiotics that are given to the animals, which may not be entering into our system. This will reduce the zoonotic disease risk. So these are some of the benefits that are associated with consumption of cultivated meat. And what are the challenges? So as of now, this cost is still high, which is about $10 to $15 per one serving. So which is quite high for a normal person to consume every day. So, and coming to the consumer acceptance. So perception. So people are still not ready to consume meat that is grown in the lab. So which is generally marked as lab grown meat. So it is about as per the consumer acceptance. And coming to the scaling bioreactors for global demand. And bioreactors initial setup cost is high, which is still serving as a drawback or challenge to set up this cell-based processing. And here coming to the how the cultivated meat compared with the conventional meat on environmental metrics is carbon emission. So if you are producing the meat by this technology, you could reduce the carbon emission by about 92% for beef, and land use can be reduced by 90%, and air pollution can be reduced by 94%. And whereas in terms of pork, so it could reduce, carbon emission could be reduced by 44%, and land use by 67%, and air pollution by 42%. And coming to the chicken, so you could reduce by 3%, and land use by 64%, and air pollution by about 20%. So while using this cultivated meat technology, we could reduce the carbon emission, we could reduce the land use, and also air pollution. So comparative analysis. So plant-based meat, when taken, they are best established as of now because a lot of studies are being done from quite much time. So they are cheaper in cost, and they are also but there is a drawback of taste, which is having a plant-based taste or a beany flavor associated with this kind of meat. That is the gap that is remained in the plant-based meat. Whereas in the fermentation, we have niche fermentation to accept this fermented meat products. So here we have niche, but it is growing fast. It is bridging a gap between a dairy and egg. And cultivated meat is a promising future kind of meat as of now. So it needs a breakthrough in terms of cost, how to regulate the cost or how to reduce the cost, and government regulations are also properly needed to set up a proper government regulation for the cultivated meat. So market growth and trends. Alternative protein market is valued to about $19.26 billion as of now, and forecasted to hit about $54.78 billion by 2032. So there is a lot of weight or lot of scope to be able to develop, and also it is a lot of scope for India to be able to grow in this sector. So plant-based meat market as of now CAGR is expected to grow by 15 to 20%, and precision fermentation attracted to about $3.7 billion investment has been done in 2023 and expected to raise further in the future. And coming to the cultivated meat, as of now, we have about 150 plus startup worldwide with a heavy funding because of the scope for its increase in the future. So trend drivers, why do we have a requirement for a smart protein? Younger consumers such as Gen Z and the millennials, they are demanding a sustainable food alternative for the traditional market as of now. And coming to the policy, so we are also having a lot of policy support in the European Union, Singapore and Israel. And coming to the India, so we have millet proteins as an alternative for the plant protein based, and also we are having lot of affordable innovations and technologies and research as of now. So coming to the smart proteins and sustainability, as we have discussed, coming to the climate, in terms of climatic change, cultivated and fermented reduces methane, nitrous and oxide, water footprint. Plant protein uses about 90% less water than beef. Then biodiversity, less deforestation for animal feed crops, and ethical So it will reduce the animal. So people have consumption assumptions that these animal meat is generally a slaughtering, and it produces lot of suffering. It gives lot of suffering to the animal. So by producing some alternative meat, so this could reduce the animal suffering. So future direction, what are the upcoming innovations that are observed in this field are hybrid products. Plant plus cultivated for affordability and taste, AI and food design. So predicting taste molecules can have an impact on developing a better protein products or better meat alternatives. And coming to the 3D printing. So 3D printing, we could make a structured meat analogs such as steak and fish fillets that would mimic an actual traditional meat products. And coming to the novel crops such as lupin, duckweed, seaweed as future proteins, it could be taken as a future protein. And government subsidies, government support, we could have a subsidies and regulatory fast tracks which could pave way for more people interested in developing smart proteins. And consumer education and campaigns for awareness. So we could provide campaigns and awareness to the consumers that consuming an alternative meat that is grown in the lab is also serves as a better alternative and is also a better sustainable means of consuming meat in future. So I could conclude that the plant-based proteins as of now, smart proteins are not one size fit for all. So plant-based meat alternative, plant-based protein alternative is most immediate form as of now. So fermentation precision and efficiency are most technologies that could be used to produce the smart proteins. Cultivated. So cultivated is a future of real meat without any farming, without any rearing, without any growing of the animals. So integration of all these three technologies could create a more diverse, resilient and also sustainable protein ecosystem as of now. So thank you.